Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. I hope you are doing well today. So, sorry about yesterday. Missed my normal Monday live routine, but it was a mess. And let me just tell you how big a mess it was. It started off with I woke up in the morning, heater wasn't working. So, I went and worked out anyway. Just got that done because that was on my schedule to do. And I just said, yeah, I'll come back after I finish the workout. Workout was pretty quick. Got back like an hour, hour and a half. Heater still didn't work. Wife called the heater folks, BG&E, and when I go to start my computer didn't work. So not quite sure what happened, but my computer died. Um, so I spent the rest of that morning getting a new computer, hooking up my hard drive from my old computer to my new one, setting up this whole thing, and that's a cluster. But I got it all done and got my workout done, got my article done. Only thing I missed yesterday was that live Q&A, mainly because I just didn't have a computer to do it on. Probably could have done it on my laptop, but I actually was spending the morning getting all the fireplaces with fires in them, trying to heat up the house because it was like, I don't know, 55 degrees in the house. So, yeah, that's what it was like. It was a good day. Got stuff done. It was a little bit of a curveball, but life does that to you sometimes. Had to take a car in to get the brakes fixed. Another day, another piece of my day. So anyway, you can look at it as like all these excuses why life sucks, or you can look at it as, all right, little challenge for the day. Let's go get this done. I actually kind of enjoyed, building fires in the chimneys, fireplaces. Getting all the wood ready and setting fire, and a little bit of survival-ish skills, suburban survival. Um, but no, it actually worked out, and I spent the afternoon just kind of chilling out, walked the dog, watched a movie, just kind of chilled a little bit on that one. I was did a little bit of work, but not a whole lot. So today is 100% full go. Got the workout done. Now we're ready to take on some questions. I figure I'll do the CSS critique show today for you guys, and um, and then I'll make up what I missed yesterday. Probably on Thursday. Thursday's a good day to do that. So I am writing an article today, and it's just an Ask Stu article that I do for military.com. So the best question of the day becomes an article. How about that? So looks like we have some questions over here on Instagram. Um, Someone asks, I'm struggling to stay streamlined and looking down during the CSS. Well, I guess that's not a question. Um, but streamlining is largely due to shoulder mobility. Okay. So you being able to get your biceps on your ears and be in good posture, right? Be in a good posture, not like this, looking like a banana when you're swimming, is the key to making streamlining work, right? So that, arms straight, biceps on your ears. If you're gliding like this, that's not really gliding, kind of plowing a little bit. So you should try to look like a torpedo as much as you can. But yeah, I talk a little bit about streamlining on some of my other videos I've shared. In fact, I'll show you some really good streamlining today. We got a good couple videos that show, I think we show a good streamline and a bad streamline, and you'll see the difference. I love your PT Ready books. Cool. Thank you. Joining the Army, I have a slight bulge in my L5. Do you think I'm still be able to attend SFAS? I don't know, man. Bulging discs, I would definitely talk to somebody that is in the back and spine specialty world, doctor of physical therapy, spine doctor. You know, I doubt you need surgery for that type of thing, but the load bearing that you're going to have to endure for that training and that life is significant. So you need to find ways to build your durability in your legs, hips, and back safely. Um, but I would definitely talk to a specialist on that one. Let's see what else we got over here. Got other questions? Oh, we got tons of questions over here. All right. What percentage of each Buds class do you think meets Stu Smith's good enough standards? I don't know. Sub 9 minute swim, run, 80-80. I'd say at least 50, maybe even 75% of them meet it. But here's the deal. There's a physical standard you should be able to meet. And if you meet it, there's no reason why you can't handle any spec ops training, Buds included. And yes, those good enough standards that I have in that assessment. In fact, I'll show you the link here. It's just an assessment tool to get to and through spec ops selection. Over the years, I have looked at, I'm going to put this link over there on YouTube and over there on Instagram. You guys should see it pop up on your deal. So that's what he's asking about, these standards here. And that's everything from PST to lifts, longer runs, longer swims with fins, a couple workouts in there that you can handle, things like that. So it's pretty thorough. Definitely needs some, get good at everything type of training models, not just lifting, not just running and calisthenics, a little mix of everything. So here's the deal. I have seen guys with exceptional physical ability not make it through training for a variety of reasons. Injuries, they quit because it's cold, it's dark, it's murky. They fail some standard that is not really fitness related, but it is more water competency related, or it is tactically related, whether it's diving, land warfare, those type of things. So there are many reasons other than fitness why people do not make it through spec ops training. But you have to have that foundation of fitness, or it needs to be coupled with a basic level of fitness. Let's say you're not meeting those standards. You're going to be engaging mental toughness more than average student. So that means you're digging a little deeper to meet that minimum standard in the run, the swim, the O course. Daily PTs are grinding you. Logs and boats just are near crushing you, but you're grinding it out and you're not quitting. That's the hump right there that everybody has to kind of go through, whether you're an exceptional physical specimen or you're just average, but you're just tough as nails. So yeah, there's really, it's really hard to come up with a set of standards that guarantees somebody's graduation, because it's all over the place. The fitness standards are literally all over the place within the graduates themselves. So let's say like the rule of thirds that I did the other day in that presentation or live Q&A, and I wrote the article on rule of thirds. A third of this class doesn't even belong there, and they shouldn't even start, right? They're just that ill prepared. A third, it's got some hope, right? But there's going to be something other than the physical fitness that gets them. It might be the cold, it might be the O course, it might be something. Something in there is going to get them other than their lack of preparation. And then the other third, the third that graduates, which is typical, sometimes 25% graduate. Within that, there's still a spectrum of physical fitness that are graduating. You got the specimens and you got the average Joes that are just tough as nails. That makes up a typical graduation class. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. Good question. I know you mentioned it's hard to strength train and trying to improve calisthenics, running, etc. What if you limit strength to 2 times a week in the afternoon? Yeah, that's fine. If you're a hard gainer and you're losing strength, nothing wrong with a secondary workout. In fact, most of these workouts that are like post winter lift cycles have secondary workouts in them. Plus, they also have a block periodization model, which looks like this. You have 3 weeks of cows and cardio, 1 week of cows and cardio deload, but during that deload, you're lifting. So that is a great way to maintain your strength, hard-earned gains from a previous lift cycle. I mean, that's what we're going to do this spring. In fact, we're just now getting out of our winter lift cycle. This is our cows and cardio deload week. We're going to test this week, take a PST, do some of the end of the winter lift cycle lifts as well, just to see, how we gained in deadlifts and bench presses and, weighted pull-ups, other exercises like that, just to see how we did. And then spring starts, and that spring is going to start progressing in our cows and cardio, but we're also taking down a notch the weights. So we're still lifting in the spring, but we're not lifting like we did in the winter lift cycle. That's how we try to do it to get better at everything versus just getting good at cows and cardio and neglecting your strength, or just getting good at strength and neglecting your cows and cardio for endurance and muscle stamina issues, which you will be tested on. So that block periodization works really well. In fact, I just wrote a really good article on it. In fact, check this out. It's pretty funny. I probably should have even started this article or this show with this tactical groundhog, because this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Check out this. Check out this link. It's called, looks like it's called Assessment Week, aka Tactical Groundhog Week. And what that means is, you know how the groundhog comes up, assesses the situation, and looks around and says, "Yep, we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter," or it's going to be an early spring. Well, that's kind of what we're doing this week, is we're assessing ourselves this week, kind of like the groundhog, and it's going to tell us who in our group needs 6 more weeks of a winter lift cycle or ready to go into the spring and start crushing cows and cardio. So if you're not assessing, you're just guessing. And that is the truth. So check out that article. It's a fun read. In fact, I'll share it with you too, because it cracks me up. You guys, all right. I just gotta share this. This is just that funny. I think I shared it on Instagram the other day. You guys check out the tactical groundhog. So you guys see that. So anyway, this is over at StuSmithFitness.com. and just the article section, very top of the article section. I wrote it a couple days ago. Tactical groundhog doing his thing. What's a typical buds class look like? Rule of thirds. Just talked about that one. This is a old man mobility article. Yeah, so you can see there's a whole bunch of different articles here. 133 pages of articles. So that is a lot and plenty. So, all right, let's see what other questions we have. Looks like, are there ranks people tend to get stuck in that prevent you from achieving the next rank? I mean, I guess. I mean, sometimes rank in the military is multifaceted, meaning one, there has to be enough people that need there have like if you're let's say you're an E6, you're trying to be an E7. One, there has to be a need for that certain number of E7s. You have to pass certain standards and tests and recommendations, good fitness reps. All of those things are part of that. Progression journey has to have a certain number of years in that current rank. So there's multi things that go into it, and unfortunately, sometimes good guys get passed over. So it's very possible. Officers is very similar after '03. Pretty much as long as you don't screw things up, you're going to make '03. Making '04, '05, '06, that's a little bit different situation. Currently, I'm doing Navy PST program to improve cows, swims, and runs in the morning, but powerlifting session in the afternoon 2 times a week. Yeah, that is fine, but be smart about it. On a day when I'm doing pull ups, push ups, for instance, that's when you do your bench press overheads. Okay. On a day when we're doing legs, that's when you add your squats and deadlifts. Or if you want to split that up, you can add deadlifts on your pull day. That's okay. But don't do it because then if you do it, let's say you do it 2 times a week, you're doing it on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Next thing you know, you get 5 days of upper body, right? Or if you're not careful, it can happen that way. Same exercises done day after day after day. That's what you want to avoid, especially if you're trying to um, not overtrain with that process because it's hard. Adding lifting is really taxing on your ability to recover. Um, let's see. All right, good question here. Best advice for someone who's gotten into running, and what are some of the best foods to eat? Progress logically into your running. Um, if you're just getting started into running, maybe run every other day with non-impact days in between. Mix it up. Do a fast run one day, slow run the other day, maybe a goal pace that you're trying to see what your mile pace is. Play around with some testing, just see where you are. Um, mix in some walking with it too. It doesn't have to be all running. You could be run walk for, let's say you go for a 3 mile run walk. Nothing wrong with that. But I would seriously, if you're just getting started, limit your total miles per week. And it really kind of depends. I've seen as low as 5 miles a week of running. I've seen somewhere between 10 and 15 miles a week for some beginners. Kind of depends on what you're running on. Uh, Depends on some athletic history. Were you an athlete that actually ran? Are you a non-impact athlete like a swimmer? Or someone who didn't run as part of their athletics, a lifter per se. Um, so it does matter a little bit. Best foods to eat? Come on, man. That's a Don't eat junk food. Eat real food, not processed or unprocessed, ultra processed foods, fruits, vegetables, meat. You know. protein, fat, carbohydrates. It's a very basic question you're asking. So, my advice is be carved up before you go hit some hard workouts. What distance should we be practicing underwaters? First of all, never practice underwaters alone. Unfortunately, there are people who die every year or so who are spec ops candidates who practice underwaters by themselves and they pass out underwater. You can Google it. I've seen countless stories on it and it sucks. Um, so never do it alone. And what we do is we do a workout we call over unders, where we will swim underwater to 25 yards, turn around, come back, swimming over. Now, if you want, you can play around with the overs coming back, pushing it a little bit, maybe going freestyle, no breath for a few of the, you know, half the distance of the pool or the whole distance of the pool. Um, but when you need to breathe, you just, turn to breathe versus being underwater and passing out. Um, and we always do that with, a lifeguard there or a buddy. One of the things I like to do with folks is when everybody pairs up and one guy's swimming underwater, one guy's swimming on top of water right above him, and they're just buddy pairing it right across the pool. Then they switch and come back. The other guy is swimming underwater, the other guy's swimming on top. But 25 is fine. The goal of underwater swimming isn't to see how long you can go before you almost pass out. My advice is to get efficient at swimming underwater. So you can do 25 yards in about 3 to 4 strokes with a kickoff. And then once that occurs, take out the kickoff, just jump in feet first and just go. See if you can do that with 5 strokes, maybe. And then jump in feet first, try a front flip, do a 25 once that is starting to get more efficient. But if it's taking you 8, 10 plus strokes to get across the pool, you're not doing it right. So don't do that. And you can see I got some videos up on YouTube, um, Instagram Reels. You can see, and on TikTok too, some underwater swim. Very efficient. I think I had one guy do it in like 3 strokes, which is pretty good. A lot of gliding, a lot of gliding, not a lot of kicking and arm pulling. It's a lot of gliding. How can I build durability of the knees, back, hips for load bearing? Well, I've always said lift, for that, but you could do lunges, weight vest walks, um, deadlift, squat. All of those are classics, but you also want some mobility and flexibility in your hips, knees, and ankles. Um, because that will also help with some durability as well as some stability, in there as well. So don't miss mobility day and start getting into some. It doesn't have to be barbell lifting. It could be weight vest squats, lunges, um, RDLs, those type of things. I mean, use those as throughout your workouts. I mean, we use squats and RDLs as warm ups, non weighted, just air squats. And next thing you know, you're going to be pretty durable. But, durability is a function of strength as well. So, and stability. So, you definitely want to work on some balance, um, work on those stability muscles and balancing. That's why I like lunges for that, because there is a level of balance you have to do every time you do a lunge. You could try one-legged squats. Um, you do some Bulgarian split squats. All of those things are going to be really helpful for you. Let's see. I've been increasing my running volume using long, slow runs. As a result, I'm starting to feel weaker on my leg days. Is this normal? Yeah, it's normal. Um, I mean, there's nothing wrong with long, slow runs. I just don't like them as a choice. I mean, I know people say zone two running is the way to get your aerobic engine going, and they're not wrong. But a lot of times, if you're a non running athlete, that's not necessarily the best advice for you. Maybe do one of those medium to long range runs nice and slow, but opt out of it sometimes and just do a non-impact, easy swim, zone 2 swim, a bike, elliptical, stair stepper. Those are probably going to be more helpful in you um, maintaining some leg stamina, leg strength than just long, slow runs. Put on a big pair of scuba fins for sure. That'll do it as well. And you can go, zone two aerobic with so many different options. It doesn't have to be a high, impact 10 miler. Some people, the last thing they need is 10 extra miles of running in a week when they're already like hitting their peak level of running already. And I'm talking more about the long, the non-running athlete who, is trying to add in some more aerobic base training. Try to consider non-impact cardio for aerobic base training some of the time. Sometimes it might be good just go get a nice 8-9 mile run in, but be smart about it and maybe turn one of your goal pace runs or your sprint day runs into a long slow run if you need it. I know I talk about that a lot, and I'm not opposed to zone 2 running. It's just sometimes non-running athletes overdo it and then they're jacked up for months because they got IT band pain, shin splints, and things like that. What are your thoughts on regular high rep burpee workouts? Have yours heard of the Iron Wolf? No, I have not heard of the Iron Wolf. Um, I mean, we've done some high rep burpee workouts before. I mean, one of my favorite personal burpee workouts I like to do is the Oneway Pyramid. I guess it's a ladder versus a pyramid. And that is you go as high as you can between one pull up and one burpee, and then 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And usually, what I like to do just to add some rest in there is give it about 100-yard distance. So you got this outdoor pull up bar, you do one pull up, jog over to the burpee area, do one burpee, jog back, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Just keep on going. How high can you go? Can you get to 20? That's pretty good. That's 210 burpee pull-ups. Can you get to 25? That's kind of the gold standard from what I have seen over the years. People who can do that. That's 325 pull-ups and burpees. Now, is that high enough reps for you? Because for some people, that's way too high. For some people, that's like, yeah, that's what I was talking about. We rarely go up that high. I'd say most time we do it as a 1 to 20, get about 210 in there. And that's not every day. Usually it's like a 110 back down to 1, just get 100 of each. Let's see here. You guys are asking some good questions. I don't have any articles on triathlon training. I don't think. I might have written one way back when, but I never competed in triathlons. I just trained like a triathlete, doing a lot of bricks. 2/3 of my cardio was non-impact cardio. So besides, you probably need more than an article for triathlon training. I would recommend getting a book on triathlon training. In fact, I read this one called, and this is more for Ironmans, Full Time and Sub 9, Dave Glover. Really good one. Check that one out. I used to work out with Dave before he was an Ironman triathlete, but he's the type of guy that like wins or top tens Ironmans. Full Time and Sub 9. Check it out. It's a good book. So that means like full time employed, and you still get a Sub 9 Ironman, which is insane. Are waivers really awarded for permanently disqualifying medical conditions? I just got DQ'd from an ankle injury 10 years ago, and I'm a little distraught. Must be a really bad ankle injury. Because I've had ankle injuries. I mean, the only way, look, there's a lot of things that prohibits you from joining the military. To get in, you need a waiver for what is a disqualifying medical condition. Absolutely. There are waivers for that. Now, I don't know about the word permanently disqualifying medical condition. I mean, I've seen waivers for a lot of things I would assume would be permanent, but I don't know. Is it difficult to get a waiver for Navy SEALs? Depends on what the issue is. Criminal waivers, yes. Medical waivers, no. All right, let's see what we got over here. A couple more questions, and I'll show a video here. Can you stay in the military for 20 plus years without becoming an officer, or would you get kicked out for rank stagnation? Yeah, you can stay in for 20 plus years. I mean, there are Master Chiefs E9s that have 30 years, some more. Do you know of a weight vest rucksack for recommendation? I'm not sure what to invest in that's good quality. I've gone all over the place on the weight vest rucks. In fact, I've written an article on both. If you do a Google search on weight vest review, Stu Smith, rucksack, backpack review, Stu Smith, you'll see the articles in there. But I mean, you can't go wrong with anything from weightvest.com. Little pricey, but if it's out of your price range, my other advice would be to go to eBay and see if you can find something similar to that one. I have bought weight vest off eBay. I've bought weight vest off weightvest.com. Used to buy them from Raptor, which I think is out of business or they're not selling in the US anymore. I'm not sure. They're a British company. But the rucksacks, depending on what you're using it for, if you're using it for preparation into the Army or Marine Corps or Navy, things like that, my advice is get the rucksack that they use. If you're just using it for exercise, you probably get away with something from GoRuck.com or use one of theirs. Those are also pricey. So maybe look around at some really good rucksacks. You can't go wrong with the Go rucksacks. You can't go wrong with an Alice pack, but they're pricey. And then go to eBay for maybe finding somebody who's getting rid of theirs, because there's a lot of people that do. Most of my guys get their backpacks, weight vests, and scuba fins from eBay, and you get them for a third to half off. I bought 4 books from your series of 40 plus tactical fit. What series would I buy next to progress? Yeah, if you did part 4 of that series, you're ready to go into any of the seasonal tactical fitness periodization models for sure. That is what I would recommend. So on the Stu Smith Fitness website, StuSmithFitness.com, you'll see a section on the drop down menu or the horizontal menu that says seasonal tactical fitness periodization. Check that out because there's probably a dozen options for you in there. Some of them are like the ones behind me here, the increased strength, crush the PFT, spring training. But then there are others that are fall, winter, spring, summer. type of seasonal training programs that are a great way to just break up the whole year into lift cycles, cows and cardio cycles, mix of transitions from one to the other. Works really well. We're getting into that transition out of the weight cycle into the cows and cardio cycle right now with our spring, and I think I'm going to go back to this one this year. Spring training, getting to and through selection. This was just one of my favorites when I look back at some of my favorite training. This is it. So yeah, there's some good stuff in here. I like this one. All right. You know what? I told you guys we would share some videos, so let's share some videos. I'm gonna pull this one up, and I think it's a volume down here. So I'm gonna share this screen. I think it's an underwater swim from the first one. Let's see what we got here. And it wasn't that good. There's some things I need to critique on this one. All right. So let's see what we got here. So let's start. You guys can see this. All right. So we kick off the wall. That's all good. Good, solid kick off the wall. That's the way you want to do it. Notice the streamline. Arms are straight. Not bad. Could be better. Not bad, though. This kick is jacked up. So he's got a good double arm pull. Notice the double arm. He's got a good pull and push, holds that glide. Yeah, he hits the wall. Not a fan of that scissor kick, but maybe it's just because he was in the shallow end. But yeah, I think we got to work on your scissor kick. But this isn't bad. Let's count his strokes. So he kicks off the wall. That's one stroke, two strokes, three, hits the wall. There's four, five, six, and we'll give him 6.5. Not bad. Could he be at 4 and 5? Yes. He could be a little more. I think with a better kick, he'd get another body length out of every glide versus maybe half a body length. So we got to work on your kick. Either try a breaststroke kick or let's work on that scissor kick. Now, he is not really used to doing the CSS. He's preparing for something that is more freestyle oriented. So he doesn't need the CSS as much. So he's going Air Force. So just got to work on his underwater kick. Does that make sense to you guys? So that's what I try to teach when I'm teaching underwater swimming. I teach getting over to the other end of the pool as efficiently as possible. Let's see. Any tips for training during Ramadan in terms of weight training? Currently focusing on techniques, less on the load. Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. During a time when you're limiting your calorie intake, do that. Another option is to eat before dawn and then go lift immediately after you eat, or vice versa. Eat after sunset, go lift after sunset, whatever you feel like. And that's probably going to hold you for the best part of the day to lift. I wouldn't lift in the middle of the day. You can do some, low intensity calisthenics or, stretching, cardio type of things in the day. But if you really want to lift hard, you're probably going to need a little bit of something in your bloodstream. Carbs and just be fueled up. But that is how I would do that. Especially if you're restricting calories in any way, eat then lift. All right, good question. Let's see, is it difficult to get a waiver? Yep, answered that one. I was in Chicago, police officer, firefighter for 6 years. Do you think it's a good idea to join Navy SEAL? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you're in your mid to late 20s now. If you're in your 30s, that's going to be a little bit more challenging, but there's nothing wrong with being 25 to 28, being at buds. I've seen many people do it. It really just kind of depends. If you're 35, different story. Let's see. Looks like we got all the questions answered over here on Instagram. Yep, looks like it. Let's see how we look over here. How the old folks book coming along. It is coming along. I promise you, it is getting done. I am I am changing the format of how I make books, um, especially for this one, Fitness Over 50. I did come up with the I did come up with a cover though. It looks really cool. Um, and unfortunately I can't share it because it's on my old computer hard drive that I didn't hook up this morning. I might have it. Maybe I can find it over on folks from Fiverr hooked me up with a good cover. I'll see if I can find it here. I can't. Yep. I gotta log in and stuff. But anyway, it's coming along. I got some new standards for just core activity and variety of plank progressions. Um, things like that I'm working on. I got to make videos for. I got to take pictures of. So it's just another little headache. But yeah, it is Fitness Over 50. I am now 55, so I feel I am in that age group that can make such a program. Um, and we'll see what happens. So, I mean, that's what I did with the Tactical Fitness Over 40. When I was 45, I came up with that uh, series, mainly because I realized I've been in this business for almost 20 years at that time. And, the people that had started with me had been, you know, doing my workouts for 20 years. And things change, bodies change, goals change. And I think we have to evolve with that. Each decade is a different level of change that occurs, and not necessarily negative or positive one way or another. I mean, I think we get smarter, we evolve properly, we're going to be better than we were the last decade. Now, there may be some physical setbacks that occur sometimes when you're in your 30s and 40s. All those injuries that you had playing contact sports when you were in your teens and 20s come back to say hi. So that is when mobility and flexibility really come into play and help you deal with all of that, whether it is, old surgeries that you had back in the day. you know, it has a way of just coming back and feeling it. And the goal, with adding more flexibility, mobility is actually being able to walk out of a gym and not feel pain and actually feel this is awesome. And it's not because of, you know, painkillers or it's endorphins. It's just because you are moving and you are stretching and it makes you feel better. Now, there's all types of studies out there. Does it affect your strength? Does it affect your flexibility? Does it affect your speed? All of those things. I'll be honest with you, at this point, I don't care. All I know is I feel really good when I mix in stretching, dynamic stretching, static stretching, foam rolling, massage, non impact cardio. All of those things aid in me just feeling better. And, that's invaluable. Let's see. Justin says, I have an ACL rotator cuff surgery from injuries when I was younger. Oh, speak of the devil. Do you think if I can get to competitive numbers, I'll be able to get a shot at a SEAL contract? Um, I looked at the calculator and even auto qualifying score. you're still ranked 100 plus along with waivers. I'm just not sure. Um, yeah, it's probably the ranking systems over there at Seal Swick. You got guys blowing away the auto quals. So auto qual is basically a recommended minimum standard. Let that sink in for a little bit because auto quals aren't a joke, but it's a good standard. If you meet the auto quals, there's no reason why you are not fit enough to make it into buds. Now, that doesn't mean anything about getting through buds because, as you know, the PST is just that's part one of tactical fitness. Part two of tactical fitness means you got to prepare to get through whatever challenge is in front of you. That means longer runs, longer swims with fins, load bearing. You may have to lift some weights just to get a little stronger and a little more durable. Um, So yeah, PSTs are important because you wouldn't get accepted into the training if you didn't do it. But you just have to know there's a phase two to this. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be a rude awakening when you get there. And you're probably going to be, remember my rule of thirds? You're going to be in that middle third of you're fit enough to be there, but you didn't really prepare to get through it. And something's going to get you. Might be a minimum standard. It might be a tactical skill, one or the other. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and show another video here. I think I got another. Let me see here. Got to share my screen first. All right. So share my screen. Here we go. So we're going to kick off the wall. This is really good streamline. I like this streamline. Nice. Double arm pulls. Nice. Could be a little tighter on his arm recovery right there. Right. So right about here. See all that? That could be a lot tighter, like elbows in. Oop. Shoot. I think my camera came off. Elbows in. Keep it real tight. Tighten up that streamline. All right. So now let's see what happens. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. All right. So this is kind of a nitpicky thing because he's hitting about a yard per second on this swim. But if you notice, there's a little pause right there. Right. And the reason why there's a pause is that bottom arm comes all the way down. It's a big arm pull. And now he has to bring it up. So it takes another second or so to bring it up and hit that recovery. That is why I always talk about the top arm pull comes all the way down. The bottom arm comes up under like you're doing a breaststroke. And then they recover together as you're doing a breaststroke underwater recovery and tight to your body. So top arm, notice that bottom arm comes all the way down. Might be able to see it on this other side. But he also screws up something on this other side. Doesn't really affect his time that much, but it's awkward. Notice this. Notice he's breathing on the left, but watch his kick. He's doing a strong side kick on his weak side. But this is different. It's not like his top leg's going backwards and his bottom leg's going forward. He actually rotates over and kicks on his left side. So I don't see this often. When I do, I like to point it out because it is something some people do. Most people would just have their top leg going backwards and their bottom leg going forward, which is the exact same kick as they were doing on their strong side. That's another version of the strong side kick on the weak side. But this is just a little bit more awkward. But you know what? He could probably swim sub 9 with this, which is pretty good. But when he changes sides, he's not changing kicks. So why even change sides if you don't want to change kicks? Because the reason why we change sides is to balance out the kick and the arm pulls. You can see it here. Tell me if you notice. I mean, it is subtle. You guys see this? And if you're not paying attention and you're just watching this guy swim, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, scissor kick. Oh, wait a second. That's a backward scissor kick. So those are kind of things I see when I critique you guys. Just little nitpicky things that sometimes it's not very common to see. Um, but yeah, that's what I do. Been doing this a long time. Did I train Taylor Kavanaugh? No. I've seen him pop up recently. That's pretty fascinating. SEAL teams and Foreign Legion. Um, yeah, he's got a great story. Um, but no, I did not know him personally. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let me go all the way down to the bottom, work my way up. Um, got IST fins. What type of swimming technique is best for your 2 mile swims? Well, we swim CSS for 2 mile swims. Um, but you could do a couple of different things. I personally like to do the CSS constant medium sized flutter kicks. However, you can play around with it if you're feeling open water and open water swims. I'm assuming you're talking about. Um, when you got the current pushing you, you might not need to kick that hard to get through the current. So, something I used to do is when the current was pushing us, and you could see it, you can just watch the beach go by so much faster, is take a big scissor kick and just kind of hold the glide, do your breath, almost like the regular CSS. Um, and you get so much further, off a kick than you would the other way around. So when you turn around and come back, those big fins are going to help you power through that current. And that's really what they're for. They're really meant for powering through currents like that. So you may need a constant flutter kick because if you try a kick and glide, you're going to kick and stop because that current, it might be a 1 knot current you're fighting, which is not easy to get through. So you need to constantly kick. So it kind of depends. Depends on the currents. There's another style of swimming. It's called lead arm, trail arm that the Air Force PJs use. They're just one arm here, one arm by the side, and just constant flutter kicks. There's another option that's not very fast, but it's a good recovery cycle. If you need to recover, just get on your back and turtle back. That's something I like to do, especially in open water. Um, keeps my head out of the water for a little bit and catch my breath and then, get back into CSS. Do you recommend swimming without goggles? Can this damage vision? I don't ever recommend swimming without goggles, but eventually you're going to have to get used to one, swimming without goggles, doing underwater swims without goggles, drown proofing without goggles, doing pool comp because they're going to rip off your mask as soon as you're, first second down there. So you got to work without a mask, without goggles. So yeah, can it damage vision? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I grew up, playing Marco Polo without goggles in chlorinated backyard pools. Seemed to be fine. Probably not the best thing for you. Let's see. Looks like that's it over there on Instagram. Let's see what we got back over here. What's the difference in terms of time between your side stroke, strong side, and weak side, 50 yards? Um, Not much on mine. Um, I can show you. I think I have a video on Instagram. Definitely have one on TikTok. Let me see if I can find it on Instagram Reels because I think I changed sides both times just so I'm facing the camera the whole time, and we can see. Let's see. It's hard to find my swim sometimes. Oh, you know what I'll do? I think I put it on Reels. Or sorry. Oh, I got it right here. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share this with you guys, and you guys can. I'll time it. I'll critique myself and time it as well. Let's see what we have. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Doesn't really work. All right, so let me start this up again. Boom. All right, I'll set my timer here. You guys ready? And kick off the wall. Oh, damn it. Sorry, I got to reset my timer. Give me a second. All right, let's go back. All right, you guys ready? And boom. All right, so this is my if my right hand is on the top, that is my strong side here. So, oh, you know what? I bet I stayed on my strong side the whole time. Ah, this is the wrong video. But let's see. My strong side is wasn't the whole video, but it was like 21 seconds for a 25. So I'm usually like 45 seconds on my strong side. Um, my weak side is probably like 2 seconds slower. Yeah, sorry I didn't have the whole 500 or whole 50 in there. I'll try to find that for next week. So, good question though. What's proper way to do the float portion of drown proofing? Great question. Um, First of all, your hands are tied behind your back, your feet are together. So there's not many ways to do it. Most people are negative, so they're going to sink. So you have to learn how to dolphin kick to stay up. And that's just a really small dolphin kick. You inhale as much air as you can into your lungs and you hold it, right? For like 5, 6 seconds. And then you kick real hard, exhale it. Just know because when you're exhaling, you're going to sink. Exhale it real hard, come back up, take a big inhale, and you might have to do a couple kicks or two to get back up to the surface. I personally like to lean forward in a 90-degree angle. So my fingers are my feet, right? And this is my head. My watch is my head, right? And I'm just doing these little dolphin kicks like this. And I'm trying to get my back up to the surface. So I am kind of breaking the surface with my back. I can feel it. That surface tension does help you stay up there a little bit. And you just do these little dolphin kicks. But when you need to breathe, boom, you kick hard, pop up your head, take a big inhale. You're going to sink a little bit, couple kicks up, come back up, and just dolphin kick. Nice, easy dolphin kick. That's how I do it. So I've seen some people who are kind of neutral or positive that can just hold there like with their face out of the water like this. I can't do that. I've seen some people. No, I haven't seen many people lay on their back doing it. It's just awkward when your hands are tied behind your back. So yeah, I always lean forward, dolphin kick. That's how I always did it. You might see a couple other people do it differently. Oh, glad you like that, coach. Um, Are there variants of over unders and buds? Are there strategies to lower your heart rate? Um, I mean, there may be some workouts and prep, but I haven't really seen a lot of over under workouts at buds. There may be some. I mean, I think I probably first heard about over unders while at buds, um, or maybe training for them for those workouts or for those tests, but it's not a thing that is tested. Um, it might be more of a workout for you. So anyway, that's just something you can think about. The strategies for lowering your heart rate, that is all about breathing. So big inhales through your nose, big exhales through your mouth. What is this? Hmm. big exhales through your mouth and just takes 3 or 4 breaths. Next thing you know, you're lowering your heart rate. So my advice is this: you can practice that anywhere. It doesn't have to be in swimming sets. It can be completely uh it can be completely on land in between running sets. Work to get that heart rate down as quickly as possible for your next over under. So yeah, I think that's a that's something you just do by breathing. All right, let's see. I think I'm about to wrap this up. Damn, been an hour already. You guys make time go by fast. Um, I'm leaving for Swick in June and have been doing SEAL phase 2, 3. We'll finish week before I leave. Any general tips for Swick training? You know what? It's very similar to SEAL training. I mean, go in there with that mindset that it's hard. It's not like Bud's Light. I mean, there are people that get there and don't do well, don't pass the standards. Um, it's tough. So everything that you're doing in that program, I promise you will prepare you for what you're doing in during prep and during the hard parts of SWIC for sure. Just keep rolling with that. Runs, swims, rucks, load bearing, treading, all the swim stuff is very important as well. All right. Cool, man. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. I will see you guys. Probably not tomorrow. We'll try one on Thursday just to play catch up for the week. Um, if I missed your question, send me an email, stu@stewsmith.com. You guys check out stewsmithfitness.com and you can save 15% using the live 15 coupon code. So I know where you're coming from and I appreciate it. You guys have a good day.